from here.
Good evening, I'm Peter Jennings. There has not been a day like it, and it could only happen in the so-called information age. In front of television sets everywhere today, the world has been watching the president seemingly bare his soul about a sexual affair that has tormented the country for all these months. And on television, but mostly on the internet, the world has had access to the most intimate details of the president and Miss Lewinsky's behavior. And today, the independent counsel's report laid out almost a dozen reasons why he, Mr. Starr, thinks Congress should consider impeaching the president. Our broadcast tonight is about all this. Mr. Clinton's presidency may hang in the balance this weekend.
More things.
This morning, with friendly religious leaders in the White House, the president said he wanted to get to the rock-bottom truth.
I don't think there is a fancy way to say that I have sinned. It is important to me that everybody who has been hurt know that the sorrow I feel is genuine. First and most important, my family. Also, my friends, my staff, my cabinet, Monica Lewinsky and her family, and the American people. I have asked all for their forgiveness.
It was the first time Mr. Clinton had apologized to Monica Lewinsky in public. Within hours, the depressing details of their relationship would stream out onto the internet and to every member of the Congress. The independent counsel's report counts 11 ways in which Kenneth Starr believes the president perjured himself, obstructed justice, tampered with witnesses, and abused his presidential authority. By late this afternoon, the president's legal team was doing what it could to refute the charges and control the damage that will clearly occur when the country digests the Starr report.
The salacious allegations in this referral are simply intended to humiliate, embarrass, and politically damage the president.
For all the bits and pieces that have made it into the public arena in the past few months, today was the day that the independent counsel's report finally became public in such a big way. And again, we remind you, as we have before, this report basically amounts to Mr. Starr's prosecutorial argument on grounds for impeachment. ABC's Jackie Judd is with us at the end of quite a long day. Jackie, would you start by outlining for us Mr. Starr's case?
Right, Peter. The report is thick with details that the prosecutors say demonstrate the president lied and obstructed justice, first in the Paula Jones sexual harassment lawsuit and then again in the Starr investigation. The report concludes there is substantial and credible information that the president's lies about his relationship with Lewinsky were abundant and calculating. As evidence, the report includes explicit details about 10 sexual encounters Lewinsky said she had with Mr. Clinton, including one in the Oval Office bathroom and another that occurred while Mr. Clinton was on the phone with a member of Congress. The details are necessary, prosecutors write, to prove the president perjured himself in the Jones case and again before Ken Starr's grand jury when Mr. Clinton denied having sexual relations with Lewinsky, whatever definition is used. The report also accuses the president of witness tampering, of attempting to get his personal secretary, Betty Currie, to back up his false testimony in the Jones case if she were called as a witness. The report says after he testified, Mr. Clinton had 2 conversations with Currie about Lewinsky, in which he made statements to her that he knew were false. Currie told prosecutors the president said to her, "We were never really alone. You could see and hear everything. I never touched her, right?" Currie said these remarks were more like statements than questions and concluded that the president wanted her to agree with him. Prosecutors also allege there is circumstantial evidence to prove that Mr. Clinton obstructed justice by having Lewinsky get rid of gifts from him that had been subpoenaed. They describe a timeline in which Lewinsky met with the president on December 28th of last year. According to Lewinsky, she and Mr. Clinton discussed the possibility of moving the gifts out of her possession. Hours after that meeting, Lewinsky told prosecutors, Betty Currie called her to say something like, "The president said, you have something to give me." But Curry testified she could not recall a conversation with Mr. Clinton about the gifts, and that Lewinsky may remember better than I don't remember, unquote. The report also claims that Mr. Clinton was not telling the truth when he suggested in the Jones deposition that he was hardly involved in helping Lewinsky find a job. According to the report, when she got an offer from Revlon, Vernon Jordan notified the president and Curry with the news, mission accomplished, and the president said, "Thank you very much." Finally, Starr accuses the president of abusing the powers of his office by repeatedly misleading and delaying the investigation. Starr says Mr. Clinton's public denials of a relationship with Lewinsky were an intentional and calculated falsehood to deceive Congress and the American people. There is a wealth of new information in the report about Mr. Clinton's alleged efforts at a cover-up. One incident describes a middle-of-the-night phone call last December. Lewinsky says Mr. Clinton told her she was going to have to testify in the Jones case and to continue using their cover stories to explain her visits to the White House. Lewinsky told prosecutors this was something that was instantly familiar to me. I knew exactly what he meant. Peter?
Jackie, thank you very much. Jackie Judd in Washington. When the president spoke at that prayer breakfast this morning, he said that legal language should not obscure the fact that he'd done wrong. But legal language and legal argument at the very heart of the president's defense strategy. In fact, it began even before Mr. Starr's report was made public to everyone. Sam Donaldson is at the White House. Sam.
Well, that's right, Peter. While the president was standing back from all this today in the role of confessed sinner, his lawyers were mounting a tough, no-holds-barred legal and public relations campaign to counter the Starr report. Even before the Starr report was out, the Clinton lawyers had distributed a 73-page rebuttal, arguing, among other points, that a private mistake with Monica Lewinsky is not a high crime or misdemeanor and thus not an impeachable action. That the president did not commit perjury because, while he may not have directly answered the questions asked, what he said was literally true. That he did not engage in witness tampering because, at the time he had certain conversations with Betty Curry, she had not yet been called as a witness. That the president's invocation of privileges was not an abuse of power, as Starr alleges, but basically done to protect the constitutional interests of future presidents. Against this background of fine legal argument, Mr. Clinton's lawyers met reporters.
There are a lot of lurid allegations in the prosecutor's referral, but there is no credible evidence of impeachable offenses.
But what about Monica Lewinsky's testimony that the president had gone over cover stories with her, telling her to say she was visiting Betty Curry, not him, or on occasion just dropping off papers to him?
The president never advised her to testify falsely. He has admitted a wrongful relation, and there is a concomitant concealment by its very nature. That's all that is involved here.
And when the president called Betty Curry in and went over his recollection with her that he was never really alone with Lewinsky, why did he do that, if it was not to suggest to her that that should be her own recollection?
She did not feel that she was being influenced, misled, or otherwise mistreated in the course of that conversation.
What do you think the president had in mind when he was falsely going over his own recollection with her?
What the president was attempting to do, as he has testified, was to refresh his recollection about a series of events that had occurred over the preceding year.
The president may have dropped his attack on Kenneth Starr, but his lawyers certainly have not have dropped theirs. David Kendall said today that while he hadn't fully read the Starr report, he is certain it contains misstatements of fact. And he drove home his point that he believes the detailed recitation in that report of Mr. Clinton's sexual activities is meant simply to embarrass and damage the president. It is going to be a tenacious and perhaps bitter fight, Peter, all the way to the end.
No kidding, Sam. Many thanks. Sam Donaldson at the White House. In this relationship between the president's lawyers and the independent counsel, today, in many instances, was just another day because the president's attorneys are at war with Mr. Starr, have been for some time, because they believe Starr is out to get the president in a very personal way. We are joined now by our legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin. Jeffrey, Mr. Kendall said he hadn't read all of the report yet, but I think you have, or at least all of the relevant details. Just give us your first impression about the legal nature of it.
Well, the report makes an extremely compelling case that there was a sexual relationship between the president and Monica Lewinsky, as any human being would define the term sexual relationship. And the problem for the president is that he and his lawyers, as they made clear today, are sticking with the technical distinction that she was having sex with him, but he wasn't having sex with her.
Well, try that a little farther for me. Mr. Kendall said again today the president hadn't perjured himself, even though it seems pretty clear the president himself has said that he lied when he said he didn't have sex.
David Kendall has said there was no perjury. He said that over and over again because it's a criminal offense. Members of Congress have said they believe it's an impeachable offense. But the problem is the factual setting seems to be putting the president's legal position on a collision course with reality.
Thanks, Jeffrey Toobin, our legal analyst on this. When we come back, we're going to show you at a little length, or some length, a part of the president's extraordinary speech in the White House today. We think you'll agree, a unique moment for the American presidency.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Publishers Clearinghouse.
This week, the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol has no van to drive and no checks to deliver. Because this week, Publishers Clearinghouse is putting thousands of real checks right in the mail. If you get an envelope with this green star, open it and you can find a real check for $100,000 that you can take right to the bank. So this week, the Prize Patrol will have to find something else to do.
Yes. Nice one.
Watch for a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with a green star. There could be a real check inside.
In hospital pharmacies, they dispense medicines that work fast. For heartburn, that's 1 minute Maalox.
It goes to work on stomach acid in 1 minute. Pepcid AC could take over 45 minutes.
Hospital pharmacies rely on Maalox. Shouldn't you?
Count on 1 minute Maalox.
Something amazing happened here in Lafayette, Colorado.
Thanks to oatmeal.
I ate it for 30 days.
100 of us did.
98 of us.
98 of us. 98 of us lowered our cholesterol.
Mine went down 17 points.
A bowl of Quaker oatmeal a day.
My cholesterol went down 15 points.
16 very proud points.
That's a lot of healthy hearts.
Mine went down 5.
27.
9 big ones.
That's some powerful oatmeal.
Can you believe it?
Quaker oatmeal warms you heart and soul.
This morning, the president met with more than 100 religious leaders for the White House prayer breakfast. It had been scheduled for some time. As you all know, the president has apologized in increments over the last several days, but nothing he has said, perhaps nothing any president has ever said, was quite like this morning's performance. He stayed up very late last night to write it very carefully.
Now, what does all this mean for me and for us? First, I will instruct my lawyers to mount a vigorous defense using all available appropriate arguments. But legal language must not obscure the fact that I have done wrong. Second, I will continue on the path of repentance, seeking pastoral support and theirs of other, and that of other caring people, so that they can hold me accountable for my own commitment. I am grateful for those who have stood by me and who say that in this case and many others, the bounds of privacy have been excessively and unwisely invaded. That may be. Nevertheless, in this case, it may be a blessing, because I still sinned. And if my repentance is genuine and sustained, and if I can maintain both a broken spirit and a strong heart, then good can come of this for our country, as well as for me and my family.
Now, the president was speaking before a very friendly audience this morning. There's an enormous debate in the spiritual religious community about whether the president should be censored, even in some cases, you may have heard, kicked out of his Southern Baptist denomination, out of his church. As for sustained repentance, Mr. Clinton saying there he'll seek pastoral support and counsel. The White House spokesman Mike McCurry said a little later today that Mr. Clinton is not under any psychiatric care, and ABC's Peggy Waymeyer, who covers religion for us and was at the prayer breakfast, says Mr. Clinton most likely means in this instance he will commit himself to regular meetings with a small group of trusted confidants. It is a common practice among some Christians, comparable to what is done in groups such as Alcoholics Anonymous. In just a moment, we'll talk to our political analysts about what kind of impact this is having today and may have over the weekend.
Hey, you want a green light to eat like never before? I do. Healthy Choice has a whole menu of unbelievably delicious dishes, incredible meals.
New chicken stir fry with a crispy fried egg roll. Big hearty handful stuffed end to end with gooey cheese. My favorite, shrimp and vegetables with bow tie pasta and a creamy basil garlic sauce.
All around 5 grams of fat. 5. There's no stopping me now. Healthy Choice. Your green light to eat what you like.
The average workday lasts longer than a few hours, but the average pain reliever may work a few hours, then quit. Aleve works all day with just 2 pills. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that. 2 pills, all-day relief, works for me.
Save some hot water. Too late! Honey, turn up the heat.
It is up.
Please let it be him. Let it be him. Please let it be him.
The gas-fueled complete heat system from Lennox.
It's him.
Virtually unlimited hot water and comfortable home heating in one unit. And it runs on economical natural gas, so it's super efficient.
Yes!
The Lennox Complete Heat System. Not just heat, complete heat.
Yes. Clean natural gas. Think what you'll save.
Are rich people taller than the rest of us? Are their loved ones more deserving of an airbag? Was the sun created solely for their enjoyment? Are we the only car company that doesn't think so? Century by Buick, full of amenities for under $20,000, loaded for under $24,000. Century by Buick, a luxury car for everyone.
You're not taking one of those laxatives.
Ring.
It's got stimulants that may cause cramping.
Says who?
Says on the label. Phillips is the only one that doesn't, and nothing's better.
She never takes a vacation.
Phillips, effective relief without harsh stimulants.
Well, there's so much to digest, and the country will have a whole weekend to do it. We're going to try a little bit of it now. We're joined by ABC's Sam Donaldson, Jackie Judd, Cokie Roberts, and ABC News political analyst George Stephanopoulos, who, as I guess most people know, used to work in the White House. George, let me start with you. Reading about the White House today in the Star Report, is there anything about what goes on in that place? Anything, any clue that this rings untrue?
I don't think so, Peter. You know, a good narrative and a good novel gets all the small details right, and I think that's one thing that Ken Starr has done. Monica Lewinsky says she was meeting with the president on November 15th, and he got a phone call from a congressman. Sure enough, the phone records show a phone call from a congressman. The description of the Oval Office complex, the Oval Office suite, is dead on, and the area where they supposedly had the bulk of the sexual relationship is the most secret, perhaps the only secret area in the whole White House.
Can you explain to me why the president's lawyers are still insistent as they are on the legalities of the president did or did not commit perjury?
I can't, because I think it's a mistake politically. Maybe it would work in a court of law, but I think it's going to be very difficult for members of Congress to make the argument that the president didn't have sex with Monica Lewinsky, and that's what the denial of perjury forces them to do.
Cokie Roberts, congressmen and senators are going to take this home with them over the weekend, but I know you've already been talking to them. What's the first take on all this?
Well, it's interesting, Peter. The take at the moment is disgusting. They tell me that members of their staffs have been reading lurid passages out loud in the offices and getting a giggle out of them, but then being disgusted. Angry, sad, all of those words, but then they follow it up by saying, but we don't know if there's anything impeachable here. And I think that that's the big question, and that they are going to go home this weekend, listen to what the voters are saying, and see if people's outrage is such that they have to take a political action.
Sam Donaldson at the White House. There is so much detail in this report, and the rebuttal from the president's lawyers is so vigorous today. What kind of a weekend do they look forward to?
Very tough weekend. The president knows he's in very deep trouble, Peter. He is now a confessed sinner, as you heard, and he is going to keep on doing that. But even though he's a confessed sinner, he does not want to pay for it in any formal sense, and that's why the lawyers have been set out to fight tooth and nail. In answer to your question to George, Clearly down here, the reason they have to continue to maintain there was no perjury is because of what Cokie said. If, in fact, the president were to confess to a federal crime, to have committed a felony, more and more members of Congress would find it easier and easier to say, we have to remove him from office.
Thank you, Sam. Last question for Jackie Judd, because there's been an attack on Star today for so much detail. Jackie, why did the Star people, to the best of your knowledge, put so much detail in about the president's behavior with Ms. Lewinsky?
Well, what they've said is they essentially needed to do it, Peter, to prove their case. Mr. Clinton insisted that he did not commit perjury when he denied he had sexual relations, as defined by Paula Jones's lawyers. To dispute that, they had to put the detail in to say this clearly does fall inside the definition.
Okay, Jackie, thank you very much. George and Sam and Cokie as well. So much of the president's future hinges on how this all plays with you. So how will the country react? How's it beginning to react when we come back?
When your allergies are a nightmare, you need help. Not just any help. You need the power of Zyrtec. Prescription Zyrtec starts working fast and keeps on working for 24 hours. And Zyrtec works against so many allergies, from cats and dogs to pollen and dust. So when allergies are a nightmare, and when are they not? Remember the power of Zyrtec. In studies, drowsiness was the most common side effect. Others included fatigue and dry mouth. Most side effects were mild or moderate. Most people weren't bothered by them enough to stop taking Zyrtec. To learn more, look for an ad in Life magazine or ask your doctor or pharmacist.
Hurry up, we're missing the best part of the day.
Catch anything yet?
Just a brake job on a Honda.
Like to watch? Pep Boys technicians are ASE certified to fix everything from rack and pinion to radiators. It's quite a show.
Is this living or what? Shh. Engine diagnosis. Very high tech.
Pep Boys.
Cars like us.
People love us.
Let them go. Let them play. Let them grow a little more each day.
Got kids? You got stains. Let them go with new Spray and Wash Advanced Stain Care.
Let them go with new Spray and Wash.
I'm on an all-night flight when suddenly, terrible heartburn. The guy in the next seat says, here, try this, Zantac 75. Thanks, I say. You know, maybe I ought to see a doctor about this heartburn. He says, you just did.
The medicine in Zantac 75 is the #1 doctor-prescribed acid reducer. It relieves even your toughest heartburn, controlling acid for up to 12 hours.
Thanks, doctor, wherever you are.
Zantac 75, the final word in heartburn relief.
So much of what happens to Mr. Clinton now depends on how the public digests the details of the independent counsel's report. Our news staff has been making random calls around the country. We get things like, enough already, sounds revolting, focus on the law, too graphic, and in some cases people may even be desensitized to the Star report by everything that has happened in the last few months. But ABC's Aaron Brown has been gauging the early reaction to what people are seeing today.
Knowingly made a false...
From a gym in Los Angeles to an internet company in Boston to a cafe with computers in Chicago, it was as if reality hit home.
We are now finding that our worst fears have been confirmed.
I feel embarrassed for him because he just made a fool of himself. And this just reinforces how much of a fool he made of himself.
I think he's in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of condemning evidence there.
It was too much, too graphic for many.
I feel dirty reading this. It's disgusting. I don't feel that we should be reading things like this. It just doesn't feel right.
And at the University of California at Berkeley, a political science student saw some danger in all that X-rated detail.
The problem is that most people are going to be focusing on what they see as kind of salacious details of this report, and they're not going to look at what are really the more potentially troublesome parts about obstruction of justice.
We saw some, but not a lot of evidence that minds were changed by the report.
I believe that sometimes people do fall off the wagon and they have affairs, but if he's sitting there saying, no, I didn't do that, and he's lying to the public, yeah, that changes my opinion completely.
But still, mostly we heard this.
I think the reality of it is what he did was deceitful to his family, was deceitful to the public, but did it cause us any real harm? No, not that I see.
That is but a first reaction, and over the weekend, as the report is read in newspapers and on the web, it could change. Aaron Brown, ABC News, New York.
The internet obviously had millions of people logging on to get the Star report today. There was some jamming as expected, but for the most part, the internet held up just fine. And you can read the full transcript of the Star report and the presidential rebuttal. There's even a 5-minute tape of the president actually speaking at the prayer breakfast this morning. A lot of other information at abcnews.com, on the web, or through America Online. We'll be back in just a moment.
At Uniroyal, in order to make a point about our new NailGuard tires, we added a few to our test track. NailGuard tires, designed to seal 90% of tread punctures, instantly and permanently. Only from Uniroyal.
Now's the time to discover the great selection of all 1998 Oldsmobile cars and trucks available at Discover Days. Test drive the Intrigue, chosen over Camry and Accord for Automobile Magazine's All-Star Award for Best Family Sedan. Right now, you can receive our lowest financing of the year at 0.9% and enjoy over $3,000 in finance savings on the Intrigue. Discover Days with incredible 0.9% financing on all 98 Oldsmobiles at your local Oldsmobile dealer now.
What's the difference between Pillsbury cinnamon rolls and prepackaged? Wake up to Pillsbury cinnamon rolls.
Nothing compares. You can feel it start to burn all through here. All you can think about is getting rid of it quickly. I even tried Zantac 75, but it didn't work fast enough. Finally, I asked my doctor, and my doctor said Mylanta. Fast-acting Mylanta was made to work fast where heartburn hurts most. Soothing, on contact. It's so fast. My doctor said Mylanta.
And if you suffer from gas, there's a Mylanta just for you. Mylanta Gas.
Today, you've heard about it for months. Now read it. The Star Report on abcnews.com. Then, on 2020, the latest breaking events from Washington. Plus, Barbara Walters' interview with famed novelist Danielle Steele on 2020 Friday, tonight.
Brief review of what has been a day unlike any other. The Independent Counsel's report laid out almost a dozen reasons why the president should be impeached. The report contains details that prosecutors say demonstrate that Mr. Clinton lied and obstructed justice. The president's lawyers say today that he's not committed any impeachable offenses. This morning, the president said he has sinned, but he promises his lawyers would mount a vigorous defense against the Independent Counsel's allegations. That is our report on World News Tonight. Of course, we'll continue to provide complete coverage on this report to Congress through all of our programs tonight and over the weekend. We'll also have a 1-hour special broadcast Sunday evening at 9 o'clock, 8 Central, after people have had a good look at this. Perhaps you'll join us then. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
Monday, the document that could destroy the president. The nation's seen it. What do they think? Will upcoming elections be affected? Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.